Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to my midweek news roundup of geeky news. I forgot what I was going to say something. I'm sure it was massive importance, but I can't remember what it was. But anyway, I've got a few news items. We're kicking off with a sad story, which you've probably heard already. But before we get into all that, before we get into all the sadness, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. I'm also live on Rumble. Let's check and make sure we are. Hope we are. Hey, there we are. Yes, we're live on Rumble and we're live on Twitch as well. I'm going to say it. Don't know why I do Twitch because no bugger watches me. I just do. Right. What else? When the stream's done, I'll be uploading it to Spotify and Amazon Music Podcasts and Google Podcasts. I'll also be putting timestamps in the description because all the links for all these stories are in the description down below. So I'll be putting timestamps in afterwards. Obviously, I can't do it before because I'm not a time traveler like some people might be. Anyway, I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The links for those are also in the description, as are links to my two books, Mercury Rapids, a light-hearted sci-fi action adventure, and Silent Predator, a short horror novella. They're on Amazon, Kindle and paperbacks, just a bit of fun and all that stuff. I'm also forgot. There we go. Pop that up. There we go. I'm also on Patreon. Where's my banner? There we go. There's my Patreon. Oh, I've also got it in me. I forgot to put it in me in my name thing. There's my Patreon link. Link for that is also in the description. And let's have a shout out to me one and only patron so far. It's a Hatchmage Frey. Hopefully I'll get some more. I keep putting videos up. I think I've got about 5 up now, something like that. Got me in magical monochrome videos that I do, where I watch an old classic 50s B movie and provide, hopefully humorous commentary. What else? I do some drawing, live, not live, but live drawing, real time. That's where I want to put it. Real time sketching. I'm not brilliant, but it's just a bit of fun. And all that some other exclusive stuff. Not preview, early. What's the phrase? I can't remember. Early, whatever. Anyway, so there's that. Right. So that's the Patreon out of the way. Right, so let's get on with these stories, shall we? Right, first up, hang on, I've got to sort this out. There we go. First up, the sad news. First up, I make myself small. You've probably heard, it's been in the news. There we go. Julian Sands, British actor, confirmed dead after remains identified. So it's very sad. I understand there were skeletal remains. I was just checking through some of the news stories because I was wondering what condition his remains were in, but it's been missing for 6 months, so I can't imagine it was very good. And one of the news things, it said skeletal remains. Pardon me. I wonder if they identified him through his, teeth or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, there we go. There he is, Julian Sands. Human remains found in mountains in California have been confirmed to be those of British actor Julian Sands, who went missing on a hike in January. Walkers found the remains on Saturday, police said, and they have now been formally identified. Sands, 65, was best known for his roles in the Oscar-winning film A Room with a View and TV dramas 24 and Smallville. Was he in 24? I don't remember him being in 24. Oh, must have been. His other credits included 2011's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, in which he appeared opposite Daniel Craig. Were you in that as well? Oh, I've only seen it once. Sands disappeared. And of course, if you're a geek, he played the Dosai in Stargate SG-1, a baddie. But anyway, sort of. Sands disappeared on third, and of course, he was also in Warlock and Arachnophobia, and these other genre films. Sands disappeared on 13th of January during bad weather in the Baldy Bowl area of the San Gabriel Mountains. Air and ground searches were hampered as California was battered by deadly storms as well as icy conditions and the threat of avalanches. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department said the remains found in the Mount Baldy area at the weekend have been positively identified as the missing actor. The manner of death is still under investigation pending further test results. We would like to extend our gratitude to all the volunteers that worked tirelessly to try to locate Mr. Sands, they said in a statement. I'm not a coroner or anything, but I bet it'll be like exposure or something like that. Probably. Anyway, last week, unless he fell, could have fallen, couldn't he? Last week, the Stars family, but I'm just saying that because of the weather conditions at the time. Last week, the Stars family thanked the Californian authorities for their efforts in trying to locate him. We are deeply grateful to the search teams and coordinators who have worked tirelessly to find Julian, they said. We continue to hold Julian in our hearts with bright memories of him as a wonderful father, husband, explorer, lover of the natural world and the arts, and as an original and collaborative performer. At the end of January, brother Nick Sands, who lives in North Yorkshire, where he, Julian, and their 3 other brothers grew up, said he had already said his goodbyes. I've come to terms with the fact he is gone, and for me, that's how I've dealt with it, he said. Sands was a keen hiker. His friend and hiking partner, Kevin Ryan, has previously said that it was a true passion of his and that he was the most advanced hiker I know. Born in Otley, Yorkshire, and educated at Lord Wandsworth College in Hampshire, Sands started his acting career with roles in such films as The Killing Fields. That brought him to the attention of director James Ivory, who cast him ahead of the likes of Rupert Everett in the 1985 film adaptation of E.M. Forster's novel A Room with a View. Set in Edwardian era England and Italy, the film centred around Helena Bonham Carter's character Lucy Honeychurch and her ever-growing love for Sands' free-spirited George Emerson. The film, which also featured Dame Maggie Smith, Daniel Day-Lewis and Dame Judi Dench, was a box office hit and won Oscar, BAFTA and Golden Globe awards. The British Film Institute has named it one of its top 100 British films. Later, Sands played the English romantic poet Percy Bysshe Shelley in Ken Russell's psychological thriller Gothic before moving to Hollywood. He played the title role in the 1989 horror film Warlock and its sequel, and his other big screen credits included prominent parts in Arachnophobia, Boxing Helena, and Leaving Las Vegas, as well as starring opposite Jackie Chan in the action comedy film The Medallion in 2003. His TV roles included a Russian terrorist in Kiefer Sutherland's TV drama 24 in 2006 and Superman's biological father, Jor-El, in Smallville in 2009. Friend and fellow actor John Malkovich introduced Sands to his wife, the writer Evgenia Chitkovits. I do apologize. The couple, who had 2 children, lived in North Hollywood. Sands was previously married to Sarah Sands, former editor of BBC Radio 4's Today programme, with whom he also had a son. There we go. So that's very sad. But at least his family, they now have completion, don't they? They can get to grips with it now. He's no longer missing. He's been identified. So they've had 6 months of hell, basically, haven't they? Not really knowing what's happened to him. And now we're hoping that these remains, weren't his. It'd still be sad for whomever they may have been, but I was hoping he was shacked up somewhere in a shack, getting away from it all. But no, it's very sad. Right, so we'll move on to some more happier things. I hope. So rest in peace, Julian Sands. Right. The other big news of the last 24 hours or so. There we go. Superman Legacy finds leads with David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan. The duo will star Clark Kent and Lois Lane in James Gunn's film. It's from the Hollywood Reporter. There they are. A lot of people said he looks like a young Henry Cavill, and well, I don't know. In that they both have heads and dark hair and a bit of a Dracula point. What do they call it? What they call that there? I can't remember. Yes, and she's kind of me and names. Lois Lane in Superman the movie, 1978. Margot Kidder. It's like Margot Kidder vibes I'm getting from her. Anyway, James Gunn has found his Superman and Lois Lane after a lengthy search. David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan will star in Superman Legacy, the film that will launch DC's new universe under writer-director Gunn and his DC Studios co-boss, Peter Safran. I've never heard of David Corenswet, shall we? Oh, never mind. Corenswet and Brosnahan were among 6 actors who vied for the lead roles, with Gunn filming screen tests over the June 17th weekend, with Nicholas Hoult and Tom Brittney also in contention to play Superman/Clark Kent, and Emma Mackey and Phoebe Dynevor in the running for the Daily Planet reporter Lois Lane. Few roles are as coveted or come with as much pressure as Superman. That's doubly true in the current landscape, as Corenswet will anchor a new universe as DC attempts to reinvent itself after a streak of misses with October's Black Adam, which I've still not watched, March's Shazam Fury of the Gods, which I've still not watched, and the recent The Flash, obviously still in theatres, so I've still not watched it. Only 3 actors have played the character on the big screen, with Christopher Reeve's career-defining work in 1987 Superman the Movie, launching the modern superhero genre and spawning 3 sequels. Brandon Routh starred in Bryan Singer's Superman Returns 2006, a film that failed to ignite the box office and resulted in him being a one and done. And a decade ago, Henry wasn't that good, was it? It was good in places, but it was a bit of a letdown, wasn't it? It had flashes of brilliance, but as a whole, it just wasn't a very good film of Superman Returns, really. Anyway, and a decade ago, Henry Cavill, 10 years, crikey. Henry Cavill starred in Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, the film that launched the DC extended universe and made Cavill a fan favourite actor for his dignified work as Clark Kent. Cavill went on to appear in Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice 2016, a film which I still say the ultimate cut of which is a masterpiece. And Justice League 2017, of course, the Snyder cut of the Justice League. And after years away from the role, appeared in a cameo in Black Adam 2022. Spoilers. And announced his intention to star in more Superman projects. That was all before Gunn and Safran were hired to revamp DC, which included plans for a younger Superman. Superman Legacy has a release date of July 11th, 2025, with Gunn expecting to film early next year. The casting search will now continue for characters such as Lex Luthor and the superheroes, The Authority, who are expected to debut in Legacy before top-lining their own film. And if you're like a normie like me, I'm not really into, comics lore, but I'd never heard of them. Never heard of them. Anyway. Yeah, by the way, speaking of Lex Luthor, Bryan Cranston was being a bit of a knobhead on Twitter recently. There were a lot of fan casting saying Bryan Cranston should play Lex Luthor. And he says, because I played the fella with a bald head in Breaking Bad. That's rubbish. And it was basically, being a knobhead at the fans. And then a lot of people reply and say, no, it's because you're a good actor. Sometimes actors can be idiots, can't they? They can be, Anyway. Because they just blurt out, because they're that used to acting and emoting, on command. They just blurt out things without thinking about how it's going to affect others. I suppose it comes with the territory, I suppose. Anyway, the Superman project will be the first film fully produced under Gunn and Safran's tenure. The Flash was released under the newly minted studio heads. That movie, which was plagued by the poor publicity incurred by star Ezra Miller, another acting idiot, earned a disappointing $55 million during its opening weekend. Legacy marks a massive career shift for Corenswet. Sorry, I've got a bit of sweaty nose. Yeah. Not only being number 1 on the call sheet of a studio film for the first time, but doing so as one of pop culture's most enduring heroes. The actor first broke out in the Ryan Murphy series The Politician, which was followed by a star turn in another Murphy-backed Netflix series, Hollywood. I've not heard of either of them. Other credits include HBO series We Own This City. Sorry, I'm just thinking of Starship then. We own this city on rock and roll. And A24 horror sequel Pearl, which is a sequel to X. Is it just X or XX or XX? I can't remember. Which wasn't bad. It wasn't as good as other Ty West films I've seen, but I've not seen Pearl. So anyway. Up next, there's the Apple series Lady in the Lake and Twister sequel Twisters. Twisters. Like Aliens with the sequel to Alien. So there's going to be a Queen Twister in it. Anyway, Brosnahan is an Emmy and Golden Globe winner for her acclaimed series, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. She rose to prominence with House of Cards, which earned her an Emmy an Emmy nomination. Say that 3 times fast. Earned her an Emmy nomination. I can't say it once. 3 actors have previously played Lois Lane on the big screen. Margot Kidder gave a defining performance full of intelligence and spunk in 1978's Superman and its 3 sequels, in which she starred opposite Christopher Reeve. She was barely in Superman 3, wasn't she? Kate Bosworth played Lois in 2006's Superman Returns, while Amy Adams brought the character to life in Man of Steel 2016, and also starred in Dawn of Justice 2016 and Justice League 2017. I completely relate to Superman because he's everything I am, Gunn told The Hollywood Reporter. What? Are you Kryptonian? I thought he looked weird. It was with the hair. He told Hollywood Reporter in April for a cover story. He's somebody who is an outsider who feels like an alien, but also the ultimate insider because he's effing Superman, and that's kind of like what I feel like. I feel like Superman, do you? Getting a bit above your station there, James. Just because you're a popular director don't mean, you're above humility. So there we go. So we've got a new Superman and Lois, and good luck to him, and they do look the part. I hope I don't know what he's like under there, but you want somebody with a bit of meat on the bones, don't you, to be Superman? You would think, like he's in the comics. You don't want somebody scrawny, do you? I mean, I can't imagine Nicolas Cage as Superman. I mean, spoilers, he does pop up in The Flash, apparently. I can't imagine him being Superman. He's too thin, isn't he? Anyway. And she looks fine, as Lois Lane. You just want a spunky woman, don't you? So to speak. Right, let's move on. Let's move on before I get cancelled. Right, next up. This is from Bounding Into Comics, so it could get spicy. Not to mention a bit preachy. Yes, because it's John F. Trent. He'll mention God at least once. Anyway, Kathleen Kennedy says new films. There we go. There's Ray. Look. Oh, wait. Kathleen Kennedy says new films will move Star Wars past George Lucas's original vision, will introduce new characters and start with something fresh. Remember all that spiel she said about protecting George's vision and his characters? Obviously, that's out the window now, isn't it? I'm sure John will mention it. Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy continued to provide more details about the upcoming Rey-centric Star Wars film and revealed it will move past George Lucas's original vision for the series in order to introduce something fresh. Let's just make sure we're actually going on YouTube. Let me double check. And make sure everything's okay, because I haven't checked, have I? Let me double check and that's my dulcet tones. Hey, did I read that? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Right. And there's Kathleen Kennedy with her minions that she'll send to get you if you disagree. Speaking with Games Radar, Kennedy discussed the upcoming Rey film, which probably won't happen, to be honest, which she has been calling New Jedi Order in previous interviews, telling the outlet, I think what's always great about Star Wars is it's a big galaxy, and we're coming off what was a major war with the First Order. And now Rey has made a promise to Luke, and that's really the core of where we're going and what this story will be. Kennedy continued, and I think it offers just tremendous opportunity to introduce new characters and start with something fresh, because we culminated with what George Lucas was creating, and now we take all of that and move it to the next chapter. So, but she's been itching, I mean, ever since Force Awakens, to put George Lucas's stuff to one side. They had to include some of his characters in there, but it were minimal, really, wasn't it? It were minimal for the most part. Anyway, not only did Kennedy, what's this? Is this on? Where are we? Where's the chat gone from there? Where's that gone? It's there, look. There we go. Oh, no, it's not from there. Is it from... it's not from there either. It's from there, Viv Dawes. Anyone else here a big fan of Lost Prophets, Ian Watkins? Because I am. Mega lols. Oh, right. Okay. Are you just causing, trying to be edgy, are you? Because he's a dirty pedo. Very good. Very good. Move along. Not only did Kennedy reveal this will be the core of the film starring Daisy Ridley as Rey, but she also revealed it will tie into James Mangold's film that will tell the story of Disney's version of The First Jedi. Oh, that's James Mangold, isn't it? Kennedy explained it was something that Jim Mangold immediately sparked to, and I think it's a really nice compliment to what we're doing with moving into the future with Rey, but then understanding a bit more of where this all came from. Bye, Viv Dawes. And then understanding a bit more of where this all came from, because it will be at the heart of creating the new Jedi Order. So to get a real sense of where that might have begun with the dawn of the Jedi could be pretty cool. So not only she's, moving on from George's vision, she wants to rewrite his original vision, basically, going back to the beginning. She's doing a, timeless child, isn't she? And there's a comic thing. I'm sure that'll get mentioned. These comments come after both films were announced at Star Wars Celebration in April. Doesn't mean they're going to happen. In the press release, Lucasfilm detailed the Rey-centric is set 15 years after the last events of the Skywalker saga. Charmin obeyed Chinoy, who likes to make men feel uncomfortable. We'll tell the story of rebuilding the new Jedi Order and the powers that rise to tear it down. The director then delighted fans by welcoming Daisy Ridley to stage, confirming she will be reprising her beloved role as Rey in the upcoming movie. I don't think it's going to happen. I honestly don't think it's going to happen. As for Mangold's film, they revealed Kennedy also announced that James Mangold will take audiences deep into the past, telling the tale of the first Jedi to wield the Force and harness it as a liberating power in an era of chaos and oppression. And I don't think that's going to happen either. Why do they keep showing comic? Is John going to talk about these comic strips? I don't know. Kennedy previously discussed how these two films were connected during an appearance on Entertainment Weekly's Dagobah Dispatch, or Dagobah, whatever, Dispatch podcast. She said, we've been talking a lot about going well into the past, and one of the things that's really knitting this all together, obviously, are the Jedi. What happened with the Jedi over time, much like history. How did the Jedi evolve? They were wiped out with Order 66. Mostly. And then because we keep seeing new ones popping up, don't we? Then they gradually, I know that they've argued that, there were 10,000 Jedi, or maybe even 100, somewhere between 10 and 100,000 Jedi in the galaxy. And then Order 66 happened. And I think George has said, George or Dave Filoni, one of them said there's like 100 left. So there's 99.9% of them have been dealt with by the Empire. They were wiped out with Order 66, then they gradually have been coming back. The question that we're going to ask with New Jedi Order and with Rey is, does the galaxy need them anymore? Do they want them back? So there's a lot of food for thought in what we're doing, whether it's in the past, present, or future, Kennedy added. A leaked synopsis for the Rey-centric film, courtesy of issue 1335 of Production Weekly, states set roughly 15 years after Rey's victory over Palpatine at the end of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. The sequel delves into Rey's courageous endeavour to restore the Jedi Order, where she assumes the role of a mentor to two promising young students, a girl and a boy. Twins, perchance? Pardon me. As her training progresses... Oh, excuse me. It becomes evident that the girl possesses extraordinary abilities, destined to emerge as the future leader. Of course, and I bet the boy is the evil one. There he is. As for Mangold, he provided details about the vision for his film, telling Gizmodo he wants to create the 10 Commandments of the Force. Mangold said, so when I mentioned to Kathy Kennedy, Lucasfilm president, I'd never knew. The idea that I had about going backward, really far backward, I was surprised that it excited her, the other wonderful people she works with at Lucasfilm. Yeah, because she's desperate for stuff. She's desperate for something to work, because nothing has for ages. for the most part, anyway, for me, it's about carrying on his quote. For me, it's about I want to be part of the saga, but I also don't want to be holding so much lore in the air that you can hardly tell a story, he continued. And what I really wanted to do, what I told her, was just, can we make a kind of 10 Commandments of the Force, a kind of origin story about how the Force came to be known, understood, wielded, and harnessed. But it'd look just exactly the same as like all other Star Wars. There'd still be spaceships, there'd still be hyperspace, there'd still be flying about, blasters and all that. It would look exactly the same, I reckon. So you wouldn't tell it were like 25,000 years in the past. Anyway. Sorry, I'm just tidying up. There we go. Right. Anyway, for all intents and purposes, it looks like Kathleen Kennedy will continue to shape Star Wars in her own image. Yes. She made it abundantly clear that's exactly what she's doing by noting the George Lucas era culminated with Lucasfilm rebooting the franchise with The Force Awakens and subsequently killing off Han Solo, which, to be honest, Harrison Ford wanted. He wanted it in bloody Return of the Jedi, didn't he? Well, Empire even. And Luke Skywalker. Not only that, but she had Yoda as a Force ghost tap into the dark side of the Force and destroy the Jedi Temple on Acto, bless you. Gesundheit. What do you make of Kennedy's recent comments about where she's taking Star Wars in these two movies? Well, I don't think they're going to happen, to be honest. And I'm surprised John didn't mention, something about them defaming the Bible when they're talking about it's going to be a 10 Commandments of the Force. I'm surprised he didn't go a bit crazy about that, did John? But anyway, as I said, I don't think they're going to happen. I think Dave Filoni's film's going to happen because it's connected to the Mandoverse. But these other two films, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't happen. Or if they do happen, they'll be scaled down versions, or maybe even, mini-series where they don't spend as much money as on a feature. But saying that, they're spending as much money, well, kind of as much money on the TV shows as they are on a big film, aren't they? But I suppose you could argue they're getting more footage for their book with a TV show. But Andor was like $250 million to make that, but it was like 12 episodes, so 12 like nearly hour-long episodes. So like a movie could cost 250 million for just 2.5 hours, couldn't it? So you could say you're getting more bang for your buck. And the latest rumor, courtesy of Doomcock, is that the Acolyte, Leslie Yee Headland's show, so far cost $312 million. I don't know where they've got that from. But anyway, I don't think that's true myself. That sounds a bit much. Anyway, let's move on. Right, what's this one? That's another interesting one. There, Netflix is open for business, and could acquisition of Paramount be in the cards for the world's largest streamer? This could be not connected, sort of like sideways connected to what we've been talking about the last couple of days with the cancellation of various shows on Paramount Plus, mostly for us. Star Trek Prodigy, we've been talking about that they could get shopped out to other streamers. And I've suggested Amazon. Other people have suggested Netflix. But I thought, well, Netflix has had its fingers burned already with Star Trek Discovery, hasn't it? But it does well with classic Trek, especially overseas from America, which you can, you still see it. And I watch all my Star Trek on Netflix at the moment because it's convenient and it's all there and available. Anyway, talk of mergers and acquisitions. This is from The Streamable. Talk of mergers and acquisitions can be exciting as companies try to determine which aspects they want to build from within and which they'd rather simply buy. Entertainment companies like Netflix always have to keep an eye open for potential acquisitions in order to stay ahead of the competition and continue to bring new content to users. Netflix has traditionally been a company that built from within as opposed to pursuing big-ticket franchises or marquee, sorry, not Mackie, that's the freedom fighters in Deep Space Nine and World War II France. I forgot what I want now. Or marquee sports rights, but that could be changing as Business Insider reports that the company is keeping a watchful eye out for acquisition targets that make sense and it could pounce at any time. By the way, if you go to that link, I've tried it, Business Insider, I'll ask you to sign up, basically. There you go. It'll ask you to sign up. It's behind a paywall, is Business Insider. Netflix is open for business. That's a new evolution. A banker who has had conversations with the company told Insider Netflix has acquired 8 content and gaming companies since 2017, 4 of them in 2022, signalling it could be ramping up its attempts to make splashier acquisitions. Business Insider reports that one entity that Netflix gave consideration to recently was Paramount's movie studio. Paramount is a frequent subject in acquisition talks these days, and its relatively low market cap would make it easier to acquire than other similarly sized studios. Apparently, Paramount Plus is the lowest viewership or whatever of all the big streamers. Disney, Hulu, Amazon, Netflix, it's the lowest. HBO, or Max, whatever it's called. What else is there? Peacock. It's the smallest. Anyway, if it decided to go one step further and acquire all of Paramount, the merger would instantly give Netflix some of the most popular franchises on TV. The service already sits at more than 230 million global users. If it got its hands on Yellowstone and the rest of the Taylor Sheridan catalogue, not to mention other Paramount-held franchises like Star Trek, NCIS, Criminal Minds, FBI, and more, the other streaming platforms in the market would have no choice but to declare the streaming wars officially at an end. Still, it's not terribly likely that Netflix will make a serious play for Paramount. Sources familiar with the company's line of thinking say that it's more likely that Netflix will continue what it's been doing, making smaller deals like the acquisition of intellectual property and gaming studios to develop more in-house content from. We're builders versus buyers, said Netflix co-founder and co-CEO Ted Sarandos. Is it Sarandos or Sarandos? I don't know. At a conference in December. So I think we'll probably lean on that for a while. Insider also reports that there is a healthy internal debate regarding bigger acquisitions within Netflix, as with other issues like offering live sports and putting more Netflix original movies into theatres. Opposition to offering live sporting events was long-standing at Netflix, but the ice began to thaw a bit in 2022 when the company put in a bid for Formula One racing rights. Oh, I didn't know that. I like me F1. Discussions regarding the acquisition of the World Surf League began in late 2021, but those conversations ultimately went nowhere. Did the splash? What's the phrase? I can't remember. Earlier this month, it was reported that Netflix was in the process of creating a live golf tournament that it would stream sometime in the fall. Netflix has shifted long-held philosophies before the company that tweeted "Love is sharing a password" in 2019 has certainly done an about-face on that sentiment, rolling out rules to stop password sharing in May. So while Netflix is not currently likely to acquire Paramount, that could certainly change in the future. Netflix didn't get to the top of the streaming heap by being inflexible, and the company has made up for all of its stock losses from 2022, and then some, following the introduction of an ad-supported subscription tier and new password sharing rules. It certainly has the financial capability to make a splashy acquisition if it chooses, and Paramount might be an attractive asset for Netflix if it changes long-standing corporate dogma once again. And there we go. That's that. So that's it's. I don't know if it'll happen, because to be honest, I don't think Netflix. I want to buy a whole studio. It's not like Amazon that bought MGM, but I think it could do a deal with Paramount. Not that I'm a business expert, but it could do a pretty lucrative deal for Paramount, where it'll pay them a lot of money, and then get rights to for its films, and stuff like that. Maybe show films not long after the debut on Paramount Plus that appear on Netflix. Same with its series. Anyway, but we'll see. A bit like Netflix. outside the US does with shows such as like Titans, which is like a Max HBO Max show, isn't it? I think there it appears on there or whatever. Oh, maybe they could even just buy the blooming thing. Right, so we will carry on. We will carry on. Blimey, it's getting warm in here now today. Oof, I've got my windows open and my little air conditioning thing going and the fan on. Whew, when will this heat end? I don't know. Right, where are we? What's next? Oh, this next one's a Daily Telegraph article. Not Telegraph, Daily Mail. Mentioning, a favourite YouTuber, Valiant Renegade. But anyway, here we go. Woke Disney loses $900 million in recent box office flops as liberal agenda being pushed in movies like Lightyear and The Little Mermaid turn off moviegoers. We won't read all that. Right, the Walt Disney Company is looking at an almost $900 million loss following a series of woke flops at the box office. And the highlighted woke is probably, a definition of it there. Crikey. Whew. Or am I having a hot flush? I don't know. Let's have another drink. Oh. By the way, there's Russell Crowe there in was it The Pope's Exorcist, which not the best of films. It's not the worst of films either. It's basically just The Right. Remember that film with Anthony Hopkins in from a few years ago? It's basically that film again. It is. Anyway, according to an analysis by Valiant Renegade, I've always wondered why Valiant spells his first name with two L's. Has he just misspelled it? Because Valiant's just got one L, but never mind. Maybe there's something behind it that of what I am unaware. Right. According to an analysis by Valiant Renegade, which aims to look at the business and financial side of Hollywood, the last 8 studio releases put out by the company have not performed as well as expected. In my head, I'm hearing Valiant Renegade's amazing voice. Wish I could do an impersonation of him. Guardians, great American radio voice he's got, hasn't he? Guardians of the Galaxy, in its most recent endeavour, a live-action version of The Little Mermaid, have failed to meet expectations, while 2 other recent films, Strange World and Lightyear, were complete failures. Even Disney's valuable archive has seen old characters given progressive makeovers with offensive imagery removed from rides and movies. Some conservatives feel the company has gone too far in its woke reinvention. One important aspect we always discuss here, which is worth reminding everyone about, is that Disney retains exclusive rights to its content after theatrical release, Valiant Renegade explained in his amazing voice. I can't do an impression of him because he's like, one important aspect we always discuss here. But no, I don't sound like him. But that's what his voice is like, but better. Disney no longer licenses content such as the Marvel Cinematic Universe to third-party platforms such as Netflix and Amazon, and therefore has forfeited billions of dollars in potential revenue. The once envied entertainment company is now struggling to find a profit on almost every single film released. Disney's bloated budgets for these projects are vastly higher than the competition on average. Like I said, every film from Disney seems to cost $250 million. Don't know why. I reckon other money's been siphoned to something else. Disney's building a space ark or something. They're doing something. Particularly considering the fact that every single film Disney releases comes with blockbuster production price tags, which was the YouTuber explained. Disney would have significantly more revenue if it pursued licensing agreements with major streaming services, but instead the company is featuring its content exclusively on their own Disney Plus streaming platform. So, they're not making any money from it, essentially, apart from, the revenue from subscribers to Disney Plus, but they're losing that, aren't they? That's going down, isn't it? Because they're losing subscribers. Still getting a lot, but probably not as much if they'd license it out to other streamers. It means that the House of Mouse is essentially being propped up by the other profitable businesses, including its theme parks and resorts and ESPN Sports. The Little Mermaid has neared the $500 million worldwide box office milestone despite a slow start. Its domestic box office total is now $270.2 million. Oh, pardon me, tell you. Hang on, if I'm burping, it gives me an excuse to play this.
I am so sorry. I was just finishing up a lovely lunch.
Anyway. Hello, Scottish Geek Guy. Hello, Scottish Geek Guy. Howdy, my fellow geek. Yes. It's cool being a geek, except in this heat. Where were we? Its domestic box office total is now $270.2 million, and its foreign tally stands at $229.1 million for a worldwide total of $499.3 million. The film dropped 21.5% in its fifth weekend, despite losing 205 theatres for a revised theatre cap. Blah, blah, blah. So if it cost, its budget was said to be like $250 million, I think, for Little Mermaid, and it's made like double that so far. But I think it's coming to the end now, isn't it, of its theatrical run. So it won't make a great deal more. So we'll say it's going to make 500 million, which isn't enough for it to break even, is it? Or it's going to be pretty close, because obviously Disney doesn't get all of the money from the ticket sales, and you got to account for marketing, which they often say is equivalent to the production budget, but I don't think it is anymore. I think it's about $150 million or something like that for worldwide marketing. So it's going to be pushing it to make money. Anyway, the reviews from the critics at Rotten Tomatoes weren't terribly strong, with a 67% fresh rating, though the audience score is much higher at 94%. I've not seen it, so I don't know. The film was controversial right from the start, with the casting of 23-year-old black actress Halle Bailey as the title character Ariel. The casting led to a wave of racist remarks, claiming her casting wasn't accurate to the character from the original 1989 animated film, which it isn't, voiced by white voice actress Jodie Benson. Well, it's not, is it? It's not accurate to it, I mean, I'm not really that bothered, to be honest, but and if she's good in it, then fair enough. But if you're remaking the film, then remake it accurately. Anyway, Benson herself defended the casting, revealing in July 2019, the most important thing is to tell the story. And we have, as a family, we have raised our children, and for ourselves, that we don't see anything that's different from on the outside. What's she talking about? No idea. The film was produced, there we go, on a budget of reportedly $250 million, with reports claiming the film would need to earn $560 million worldwide before turning a profit, after considering other costs, including a massive marketing spend. As I said, they say something like 150 million. They used to say, it would double the production budget, but that was when production budgets were around 150 million. So, but anyway. In other recent films, Lightyear released 1 year ago with a reported budget of $200 million, brought in a modest $226.7 million in worldwide ticket sales, and received a decidedly mixed critical reception. So that definitely lost money. By contrast, The Incredibles 2 in 2018, which was reported to have had a similar production budget, had a worldwide box office sales of $1.2 billion. I think that could have been the last film I went to see at the cinema. Incredibles 2, and I quite liked it. This one did not so much, but it was all right. Not as good as the first one. Lightyear could not be shown in 14 Middle Eastern and Asian countries because of its depiction of a same-sex relationship. That also had an impact on its global box office performance. I'm sure Disney did something to help that along. In recent years, Disney has become increasingly woke. Well, it's not just Disney, is it? They're all at it. Under the control of current chief executive Bob Iger, Disney has followed the progressive path many other US corporations. In 2021, it stopped greeting park visitors as ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, replacing that with dreamers of all ages. It has slapped racism warnings on many of its best-loved films, including Dumbo for the raucous Black Crows and Lady and the Tramp for the sinister Siamese Cats. That's fair enough. I'm not against them putting a warning at the beginning of a film. Not a warning, but an information card at the beginning of a film saying that, the film was made, in a different era when some of the opinions expressed in the film or whatever, were acceptable back then, but are not acceptable anymore. I'm not against that, as long as they don't go changing the films. That's what we don't want to see, in my opinion. And editing this stuff out. Anyway, its resorts, it ditched. In its resorts, it ditched Minnie's polka dot dress to be replaced with a Stella McCartney designed trouser suit. Why? And the fairy godmothers in Sleeping Beauty that were deemed too exclusionary of men. Godmothers. The brand has made new, but they do get a fella in, don't they? There were a video, wasn't there, from I think that was with Sleeping Beauty, wasn't it? Where they had a man with a beard, mustache, and everything, greeting people into the Sleeping Beauty shop or whatever it was. Anyway, the brand has made numerous steps towards becoming more progressive recently, included a gay kiss between two characters in Lightyear. Well, they did it in Rise of Palpatine, didn't they? But, so what? A new live-action film of Snow White, due out next year, has dispensed with the dwarves to avoid reinforcing stereotypes and will have a Latina actress in the title role. I mean, I've nothing against gay things being in films, just have it in there for a reason. Don't have it just there because you want it in there or, for a statement. Have it part of the story. A good part of the story, not shoehorned in. Anyway. The move comes as Disney has laid off 7,000 employees in a cost-cutting move. The cuts are part of Walt Disney Chief Executive Bob Iger's previously announced plan to slash $5.5 billion in costs. The restructuring combines the film and television groups, television groups into a single Disney entertainment unit and eliminates a division charged with distribution. Iger had been working to revive Disney's streaming business while ensuring the stability of their theme parks, but he also has been dealing with efforts by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to take over Disney World's theme park district. There's no one to take it over. It's just, I forgot what they call it now. The agreement that Disney had when they bought the land, it kind of made it like its own country, didn't it? With its own rules and laws, and it doesn't have to pay, like, I suppose the equivalent is like, I forgot the bloody phrase. Me and my brain. Pay the, pay the government to build things. What they call it now? Planning permission and stuff like that. They do away with all that. They can build their own roads and they have their own police and stuff like that, don't they? Is looking at that again, isn't he? Is Ron. Anyway, the feud between DeSantis and Disney, quite similar, aren't they? DeSantis and Disney. DeSantis started last year after the company, in the face of significant pressure, publicly opposed legislation concerned a bill that critics called "Don't Say Gay." But it's the parental rights bill, isn't it? That's what it is. Then it's to give parents a say in basically what their kids are taught at school. Then Disney boss Bob Chapek pledged to fight the repeal of the law banning schools from teaching 5 to 9-year-olds about sexual orientation and gender identity, which shouldn't, leave the kids alone. Let kids be kids. As punishment, DeSantis took over Disney World's governing district, there we go, through legislation passed by lawmakers and appointed a new board of supervisors. DeSantis ended a 55-year-old deal that allowed Disney World to govern its vast resort itself, right down to controlling its own water, roads, and emergency services. The deal saved Disney millions of dollars in taxes. The governor said the action was aimed at holding Disney accountable for entertainment he said is inappropriate for children. The corporate kingdom finally comes to an end, he proclaimed. There's a new sheriff in town and accountability will be the order of the day. Before the new board started, Disney pulled a fast one and signed agreements with the old board made up of Disney supporters that stripped the new supervisors of design and construction authority. Chapek was removed as CEO in November 2022 while he was at an Elton John concert. Sparking on a Sunday, as Gary from Nerdrotic likes to keep reminding us. Sparking speculation that the company's commitment to wokeness during his tenure may have led to his ouster. His commitment to wokeness, but like I said, Bob Iger, even worse. I mean, if anything, Chapek were moving against it, but he were forced to do like a hostage video, wasn't he? With this, with the "Don't Say Gay" bill. Except it's not that. Where are we? During Chapek's tenure, Disney Plus domestic subscriber growth collapsed, public approval of the company dropped, and the stock price plummeted. In response, the Republican-controlled Florida legislature passed legislation allowing the DeSantis-appointed board to repeal those agreements and made the theme park resort's monorail system subject to state inspection when it previously had been done in-house. Iger has vowed to keep challenging DeSantis and his administration. DeSantis, in turn, appears to determined to stick to his guns, hoping that his anti-woke crusade against Disney World will benefit him politically. Why am I getting visions of like Disney World versus Florida? It's like this thing that's going on in Russia with Wagner against Putin. There's going to be like a Disney army going up against the Florida National Guard. Anyway, the lawsuit continues in federal court, with DeSantis recently asking the judge to dismiss the case. Is that it? Yes, that's it. Right. So Disney's in the wars again, but good on Valiant Renegade on getting a lot of publicity for him and his amazing voice. Right. So let's move on. I've got anything else to say, but yeah, basically, Disney needs to stop being woke. Start making films and TV shows that people actually want to see. The majority of people actually want to see. And enough with the messaging. If you want to put a message in something, do it subtly. Don't have it too on the nose. For instance, this week's episode of Secret Invasion, I didn't mind. I thought it were quite good, actually. But it was a bit on the nose with the like racism/immigration allegory. I suppose the whole series is like that, but a bit particularly on the nose this week. But it had a good bit of action in it towards the end of the episode. So it was far from boring, in my opinion. It were okay. But anyway, right, let's move on. What's next? Got quite a lot of stories this week, by the way. So I could be here a while, unfortunately. Right. Star Trek. Kate Mulgrew and Strange New World star comment on Star Trek Prodigy cancellation. MJ is saying something. Secret Invasion gave Falcon a Winter Soldier vibe with terrorism and dark tone. Yeah, it did a bit. It's it's going for that like conspiracy, tone in it. It's a bit like 24, I suppose you could say, but that sort of stuff. But I didn't mind it. I didn't hate it. I don't know why people are railing against it. It is a bit on the nose with its messaging, but everything is these days, isn't it? But anyway, welcome to the show, MJ. Right. Kate Mulgrew, Strange New World star, comment on Star Trek's Prodigy cancellation. Kate Mulgrew, there she is, in real life and in animated form. Kate Mulgrew, who plays Vice Admiral Kathleen Janeway on Star Trek Prodigy, has commented on the cancellation of the animated series by Paramount Plus, following the announcement that Paramount Plus has cut multiple series, including Prodigy. The streaming service deleted all 20 season 1 episodes on Monday, June 26th, 2023. In addition, Star Trek Strange New Worlds actor Bruce Horak also chimed in about the end of Star Trek Prodigy on Paramount Plus. Yes, so much for all of Star Trek being there. It's the place for all your Star Trek needs. Now it isn't, is it? Unbelievable. On Twitter, Kate Mulgrew made her first public comment about Star Trek Prodigy's cancellation. Mulgrew responded to a tweet from Prodigy's creators and executive producers Kevin and Dan Hagman. Is it Hagman? I don't know. About their panel at the upcoming Star Trek Las Vegas convention, and she shares very Janeway-like inspiring words Read her tweet below. Right, here we go. She says in her Catherine Hepburn voice, I'll be joining this panel as there is much to discuss with the brothers Hageman. Many thanks to our cast and crew and to our fans for your ongoing support. We still have only just begun. And there's their tweet saying, due to unforeseen circumstances, my brother and I will be acting out our entire season 2 of Save Star Trek Prodigy at Star Trek Las Vegas. Come for the fun, stay for the laughs. We'll see you there. But as I said in the other videos, they're hoping to get another streamer to pick it up. Hopefully, that's it. My money's on Amazon, but others have said Netflix, haven't you? Win Grace. But it could be Netflix. If Netflix are looking to buy Paramount, and it could very well be them, and you were right. And Win Grace is always right, because as I've said, he's a non-corporeal entity that exists out of linear time. Doesn't he? But he's not here today. Strange New Worlds, Bruce Horak also showed. He played Hemmer, by the way, in Strange New Worlds. The late Hemmer, or will he be back? I don't know. Bruce Horak also showed his wistful fan art about Star Trek Prodigy. Check it out below. There we go. Hemmer at home. Carpe diem. I don't know. Is he blind or partially blind? If he's blind, he's done a pretty good drawing there, hasn't he? Maybe he's just partially blind. But there he is, Hemmer at home. I presume that's a Gorn, an infant Gorn. So maybe he's alive. Maybe he's he crawled off into the snow, gave birth to the infant Gorn, healed up, and now he's waiting to return. Fingers crossed. Star Trek Prodigy fans are understandably upset that Paramount Plus deleted the 20 episodes of Season 1 just 3 days after the animated series was cancelled. The Change.org petition to save Star Trek Prodigy, follow that link and sign it, as I have, has now garnered over 17,000 signatures, and Star Trek fans are seeking even more ways to rescue the show and find Prodigy a new streaming home. Thankfully, Star Trek Prodigy Season 2's 20 episodes are still being completed, and the goal is to find a new distributor to stream the 2 seasons of Prodigy. Other Star Trek Prodigy cast members like Riley Alazraqui, I do apologise, and Bonnie Gordon have also tweeted their disappointment about Paramount Plus cancelling Star Trek Prodigy, but hearing a hopeful message from Kate Mulgrew that we still have only just begun is just what fans need to rally and continue the fight to #Save Star Trek Prodigy. There's certainly hope on fans' side that Star Trek Prodigy will find a new streaming service to showcase seasons 1 and 2. After all, no one wants to disappoint Admiral Janeway, and I've been playing the game. There you go. Here we go. There you go. I got the game. Hang on, make myself big. And it's not a bad game, to be honest. For the PS5, Star Trek Prodigy Supernova. You see it. There we go. And it's not too bad. I suppose it's aimed at kids because it's not super hard, but that's good for me because I'm rubbish at games. But I've been playing that. I'll be streaming it. If you go onto me, onto the YouTube channel, you'll find the streams I've been doing. That's it for that. Right, there we go. So anyway, so hopefully it'll get saved and it'll pop up somewhere else. Like I say, Amazon or Netflix, they're the main ones, aren't they? But will it be? I mean, it was a Nickelodeon show, as you saw on the game there. There was a Nickelodeon thing. It was made in conjunction with Nickelodeon, wasn't it? So why can't they just show it on Nickelodeon then? On regular TV. They could do, couldn't they? But will they? They should do. Right. Hang on. Make myself titchy again. I forgot I'd made myself big. Right, next up. What's next? Oh, back to bounding into comics. Right. Could get spicy. Who is it this time? Oh, it's John F. Trent again. Alleged. Oh, I can put it on there. I'm doing like I did. Other day. Well, it's Sunday. I did my live stream and I forgot to press add to stream for one of the articles. So I'm there reading away, not noticing that you're just looking at stars. Never mind. There we go. Alleged leaked description of the Marvel's post-credit scene sets up Young Avengers team. There could be spoilers here, by the way. So if you don't want the Marvel's post-credit scene spoiling, possibly, go make a cup of tea or something, or get a cold drink from the fridge if you're in the UK. Hey. Right, off we go. An alleged leaked description of the upcoming The Marvels film appears to confirm that Marvel plans to introduce the Young Avengers team. They actually did mention in this week's Secret Invasion about if the Avengers return. I think the Skrulls, one of them was saying, what if the Avengers return? Suggesting that the Avengers are not around anymore. So could this be on about the Young Avengers? Anyway, there's Brie Larson, Ryan Kinnell's girlfriend. Anyway, Reddit user CostisPat257 shared leaked descriptions for 2 post-credit scenes to the Marvel Studios subreddit. The description of the first scene states, Monica wakes up in a hospital and sees her mom, Maria, dressed in the Captain Marvel costume that she donned in Multiverse of Madness. It's not implied that this is Earth 838, unless Monica also travelled back in time, but rather another universe where Maria also happens to be Captain Marvel. The scene is, of course, a parallel to episode 4 of WandaVision, where Monica wakes in the hospital to find her mom gone, the user shared. Oh, pardon me. The description for the second post-credit scene states, the Marvel's last post-credit scene reveals that Kamala was actually narrating the events of the movie to someone else, and that person is Kate Bishop, Kamala being Ms. Marvel, and Kate Bishop being, the new Hawkeye. By the way, let's make sure we're still going. Yes, and yes. Right. The user continues. Haley Steinfeld makes a cameo in the scene in her full Hawkeye suit and gear as Kamala recounts her latest adventure. At the end, Kamala says that there are more young heroes like them, and they should all team up. Ending the scene by asking Kate, did you know Ant-Man had a daughter? So they're bringing her in as well. MJ says, will Ms. Marvel gonna do worse than Flash at the box office? Probably. Or about the same. I don't know. It might surprise you. It might do really well. I suppose it depends, doesn't it, on the trailer when we see it. The Reddit user, more trailers. We've seen a couple of trailers, haven't we? The Reddit user then speculates this scene obviously teases the eventual formation of the Young Avengers, and it seems Kamala, Kate, and Cassie will be the first 3 members. That's Will, isn't it? Hang on, where is it? Will Wheaton. Yeah. Anyway, and there's the text. Rumors about Marvel Studios creating a Young Avengers team go all the way back to 2019 when an alleged leak claimed that Marvel would be releasing a new Avengers film in 2022 that would feature a Young Avengers lineup. That leak, which clearly did not turn out to be true, followed a rumor at We Got This Covered that claimed a new Avengers film would feature a lineup that included Kate Bishop, Hulkling, Iron Lad. How did they get these names? I don't know. Patriot, Wiccan statue, and Vision, albeit not the Paul Bettany version of the character. Oh, is this them there? Is that Hulkling? Iron Lad? I don't know. In 2020, it was rumoured by Thomas Polito, whatever, at Geeks Worldwide that the Young Avengers would be teased in Ant-Man 3. Polito, claimed at the time that Marvel Studios, I'll say Thomas next time if it shows his name, claimed at the time that Marvel Studios want to feature some incarnation of the Young Avengers in the film. That clearly did not happen either, albeit Cassie Lang did end up becoming Stature. Is it Stature or Stature or whatever in the film? Despite many of the rumours regarding the Young Avengers being assembled in the Marvel Cinematic Universe not coming true, Marvel Studios' recent film releases, as well as a number of their Disney Plus shows, did appear that they were setting up characters to create a new Avengers team. Oh, Windgrace is here. Told you what, he's like an eldritch god. He's everywhere. But who will play Emma Peel? Don't know. and what's his face? Me, and as soon as that camera goes on, every name in my memory bank just goes. Him anyway, yeah. But the Avengers film with Uma Thurman and Ralph Fiennes, well, bloody garbage, wasn't it? What garbage? What's his name now? Come on, Windgrace. What's his name with the bowler hat on in the Avengers? I'm hoping they're doing the music. Jogs my memory. Oh, whatever. They introduced Kamala Khan in the Ms. Marvel Disney Plus series, which I didn't mind, to be honest. Steed, that's it. Yes, Steed. John Steed, yes. Why couldn't I remember that? I don't know. I think I was thinking of Stryker from UFO for some reason. Or Straker, whatever. Striker's from Airplane, isn't it? Anyway, they introduced Kamala Khan in the Ms. Marvel Disney Plus series. As I said, I didn't mind Ms. Marvel. It was fine. They introduced Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series on Disney Plus. Again, another series which I didn't mind, apart from the end. They always ruin the ends, don't they, these series. Anyway, the aforementioned Stature was introduced in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which I've not seen. There were also teasers of Wiccan and Speed in WandaVision. Yeah, were they her kids? Were they Wanda's kids? Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, was introduced in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which I've not seen. Patriot was also introduced in the Disney Plus series The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But that Kurt Russell's son, was that Patriot? I forgot his name. Yeah, him. Good character. I liked it. I liked the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You know, the train thing going on, the big fight on there. I quite liked that. We're okay. But then the rest of the series was just not very good. It had its moments, I suppose, but not enough of them. They also introduced Scar in She-Hulk: Attorney at Law, here right at the end, like lurking in the background, as Professor Hulk, whatever they call him, introduced him. Anyway, teasers. They were damn costumes. No, Patriot was the young black kid from Detroit, was it? All right, I don't know. What was the name of Kurt Russell's son's character then? In that basically became Captain America. He had another name, didn't he, as well? But I can't remember. Anyway. And America Chavez in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Given the focus on Kang the Conqueror and the reveal of the Council of Kangs in Quanut Mania, it's not hard to imagine Iron Lad making an appearance. Iron Lad. Iron Lad. Says it's from Yorkshire. Hey, Iron Lad. Who's that in there? Is he speaking? Oh no, he's there. Look, Iron Lad is Kang the Conqueror. Well, not yet. It's hard to explain. Try. I'm supposed to become Kang in the future. That's Iron Lad, is that? Anyway, he was US soldier. Is that what they called him? But I don't think they ever called. I don't think they ever called him that. Was it never uttered on screen? Not a bad character. I quite liked him, because he went mad, didn't he? So, it was interesting. It was probably the most interesting US agent. Yes, that's it. US agent. Yes, that's it. John Walker. That's the fella. Yes. Windgrace knows all. I forgot what I was saying. He was the most interesting character in that series, even more so than Falcon and the Winter Soldier, who were a bit, beige, to be completely honest, in my opinion. The original Young Avengers team was assembled in Young Avengers #1 back in 2005, blah, 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 blah. In later incarnations, the team would pick up others, don't care. It's quite easy to see Ironheart replacing Iron Lad, Scar replacing Hulkling, and Ms. Marvel replacing Marvel Boy. Oh, God, blimey. Brunch. Albeit, It's possible Hulkling could be introduced in the Secret Invasion series. Nah, I doubt it. The upcoming Loki series could also see a new version of Loki introduced that could fit into the team. The Marvels arrives in theatres on November 10th, 2023. What do you make of this leaked description? Yeah, it sounds reasonable, I suppose. Don't see why not. Doesn't sound, beyond the pale, does it? And Quake, just being there, please. And she said, "It's Quake." I'm probably wrong. It's Quake Chloe Bennett from Agents of Shield. That's Quake in it, is it? I'm probably wrong. But hasn't she said she's not being asked to be in it? So if it might be another person playing, I don't know. But yes, it'd be nice because Chloe Bennett's very nice, very easy on the eye. Although that's not what they're there for. Right. Next up. But yeah, I don't see why not. Why that can't happen. Young Avengers, but we will see. We will see what happens. Some people will find something to moan about. Anyway, MJ says, not going to watch Ms. Marvel, even illegally. Don't care. Well, that's entirely up to you. I didn't mind it. It wasn't perfect, but I didn't mind it. Mostly because of, I can't remember the name of the actress, but her that played Ms. Marvel, well, quite likeable, to be honest, in my opinion. But, anyway. Right, how Wes Anderson, and he said Wes Craven then, how Wes Anderson created his aliens and ray guns for Asteroid City. It's getting a lot of coverage recently, Asteroid City. Some people saying it's really good, and I've seen some people saying it's quite boring, but don't know. Asteroid City production designer Adam Stockhausen, cool name, reveals how those 50s era contraptions and that UFO came to be. Asteroid City, Wes Anderson's latest film, is about a lot of things: death, grief, theatre, science, and aliens. As teased in the trailers, Anderson dips his dapper toe into the sci-fi milieu and serves up an actual 50s era UFO sighting in the tiny desert town. Plus, he layers on the kitsch with an array of outrageous scientific contraptions invented by members of the Junior Stargazers. In our continuing conversation with Asteroid City production designer and frequent Anderson collaborator Adam Stockhausen, says the creation of the 50s era inventions and the big alien moment were the result of several departments working together to meld historical accuracy with fantasy. In the case of the Junior Stargazer award-winning inventions, Stockhausen says each were ultimately built by property master Sandy Hamilton and his team, but their origins all stem from the work of illustrator Victor Georgiev. Is that a painting or is that real? I can't work it out. Photo, Asteroid City, official trailer, so it must be actually from the film. It looks like a painting, doesn't it? It does. To me, anyway. I'm the designer of the film, but not me, the fella. But the art department involves all these different skills and crafts, he explains. There are people who have worked on multiple movies with Wes, and one of them is illustrator Victor Georgiev, who did the illustrations of all the scientific inventions made by the kids. It's a back and forth, iterative process with Wes getting the drawings just right. Just like we're sketching the luncheonette and the gas station, we're sketching the inventions and the ones that are added later on in the film too. It's just super inventive, but the process is the same. So I'm presuming is that one of the ray guns or something? I don't know. Not seen it, so I can't comment. Because Anderson was looking for design that specifically felt organic to the post-war futuristic style, Stockhausen says there was a lot of reference research infused with pure concept design. We have reference points, and there might be something that's explicitly like the thing we're trying to draw. And there might be other things like a hunk of machinery from a windmill that gets attached to this other thing. So it's a whole mixed bag of things, lots of things. He details. So Victor did the drawings of for those pieces and for the alien, and there's some sort of jetpack. Very good. Obviously tied in down, so it still looks like a painting though. Anyway, Model maker Simon Weiss or Weiss or whatever, or Weiss, was then tasked to create each of the props and the miniatures. He does the miniatures with Wes, but then he's also prop making. He just did the latest Matrix movie. And he was right down the ray gun alley for that, Stockhausen jokes. When it came to setting the literal stage for the Asteroid Day award ceremony, and the surprise alien appearance, Stockhausen says the very first decision they had to make, by the way, there might be spoilers here, I don't know. Stockhausen says the very first decision they had to make was whether they should create a scale, full crater set, or to approximate one for the production. What was difficult is that we ended up not really building it, he says of their decision. The original intention was to build this enormous set inside the crater, and then partly because of production, the realities of time and money and all of that, at some point along the way we said, why don't we just make a little piece of the crater? It turned out to be one of those decisions that saved us a little bit of time and stress up front, but caused a huge amount of time and stress later. What are they doing, like a forced perspective, something? I don't know. If we had to do it over again, I think we would both agree that it would have been better to just build the giant set from the beginning. And then in terms of what's going on in there, there's this wonderful set of photographs that Emily, our researcher, found in Life magazine. Stockhausen says of their research discoveries. I think it was the 1955 Stargazers Convention to see a meteor shower or something. People with the lawn chairs and the cardboard box helmets. It was the whole thing. So sometimes just by digging and looking, you find things you weren't expecting it, and it's wilder than you could imagine, because the universe is not only queerer than we imagine, it's queerer than we can imagine. Something like that. That's a paraphrasing. Some people say strange rather than queerer. Anyway, you were blah, blah, blah. We borrowed quite a number of things from that group of images, and I presume that's a spaceship coming down, I suppose, and an alien's going to beam there, probably, unless a ladder drops down, I don't know. However, the standout production design that distinguishes itself from everything else in the film is the glass and green lit UFO that covers the crater opening and stuns the audience. Stockhausen says the whole concept came from Anderson's brain. We started that process and got him going with Victor, the same illustrator, worked with him on that. And sometimes you can see a process with him just sort of take off and fly. It's going great. So then I'm just going to step out. He very, very quickly came to the final illustration for the spaceship. Then Simon made it, and there we go. Can't make it to one of these theatres? Get your sci-fi film fix until the film's June 23rd WoW release by checking out some of these flicks on Peacock. And I presume there's a list. Yeah, right. There we go. That's it. I'll wait for it to come onto streaming and I'll probably give it a watch. It sounds interesting. I'm really interested because there's a Scarlett Johansson nude scene. But I'm told it's a body double. Boo. Right, we'll move on. Am I a misogynist? Probably. Right. Oh, I forgot to do that, didn't I? Allow ads. We can't show you this page unless you turn off your ad blocker. Bloody things. Because this is inverse. Star Wars is about to give fans something they've been demanding since 2018. What, good Star Wars? Do you need to rewatch Rebels or not? As the wait for Ahsoka, the next Star Wars live-action show, nears its end, fans are brushing up on old series. However, it's unclear just what an appropriate rewatch should involve, because Ahsoka Tano appeared in every season of the Clone Wars and Rebels. A full refresher could become a days-long binge. To further confuse matters, there are several schools of thought about just what is necessary for Star Wars fans to rewatch, even among the people making the series. Earlier this month, Empire magazine ran a feature on Ahsoka that included a list of recommended episodes to rewatch before the series begins. Only 5 episodes were listed. Clone Wars Season 5, Episode 20, The Wrong Jedi. Rebels Season 2, Episode 22, Twilight of the Apprentice Part 2. Rebels Season 4, Episode 13, A World Between Worlds. Rebels Season 4, Episode 15 and 16, Family Reunion, and Farewell. Just one episode from Clone Wars. Unbelievable. That disappointed some fans because if those are the only episodes needed for Ahsoka to make sense, then it's unlikely the live-action show will touch on Ahsoka's formative years as shown in the first 4 seasons of the Clone Wars. The 5 recommended episodes only make up a tiny portion of Ahsoka's Star Wars history and the history of some other characters that jump to live action and join her series. However, Dave Filoni, the showrunner of Ahsoka and the mastermind behind the character, she's his babe, apparently told star Rosario Dawson that Rebels is far more important than that initial syllabus implied. So he's downplaying Clone Wars, is he? You know, that were made, you know, under George Lucas's auspices. Rebels wasn't, was it? Rebels was created after the Disney buyout. Again, the distancing himself from George. That's how I'm looking at it. Dawson told Total Film that Filoni said the series is essentially season 5 of Rebels, and there's Cobb Vanth, played by is it Timothy Oliphant? Is it Timothy? I think it is, isn't it? So, I remember the name. So, if Ahsoka is simultaneously only referencing 5 earlier episodes and providing a sequel to a show that ran for 4 seasons, then just what is required of fans? The answer is likely up to you. Ahsoka takes place in the live-action Mandoverse, and most fans haven't seen the vast amount of animated content. I don't know. I think if you class yourself as a fan, you probably have seen it. But anyway, it's unrealistic to expect them to catch up by binging multiple shows. However, Ahsoka will probably reward fans who have done their homework, whether thematically or with Easter eggs. After all, The Mandalorian rewarded fans of other Star Wars media with the introduction of Ahsoka and Cobb Vanth, but also made their characters easy to understand for those meeting them for the first time. So do you need to watch all of Rebels before Ahsoka? The answer is looking like no, but it would sure help. So what's that got to do with the title? Star Wars is about to give fans something they've been demanding since 2018. What's that then? I don't know. I don't know what did that article say the fans have been demanding. I have no idea. Stupid article. Get rid of it. Move on. That was stupid. That was a waste of time. Speaking of Ahsoka, we're still going on about her from comicbook.com. Disney reveals new Star Wars Ahsoka footage will be released this weekend. The live-action Ahsoka TV show isn't set to premiere on Disney Plus for another couple of months. August, isn't it? I'll have another drinky. Yeah, I should gargle, but never mind. But some new footage from the highly anticipated Star Wars series is going to be arriving very soon. Star Wars Ahsoka, following Rosario Dawson's titular Force user, I love that word, titular, not Force user, is the next live-action Star Wars project coming to Disney Plus, and the House of Mouse is planning to debut a new look at the show at the 2023 Essence Festival in New Orleans, Louisiana. On Monday, Disney announced the lineup of guests, events, and panels that are set to take place at this year's Essence Fest. The studio showcase this year will focus on Haunted Mansion, Star Wars Ahsoka, and Disney's new animated film, Wish. Rosario Dawson stars in both Haunted Mansion and Ahsoka, so she'll be there to present the footage. I suppose that depends, doesn't it, how this writer's strike and / actors joining in strike goes, doesn't it? Anyway, a specific time for the Ahsoka footage debut hasn't been announced just yet. Disney is proud to quote, Disney is proud to return to the Essence Festival of Culture as a major sponsor and showcase the magic happening across our brands, said Jill Estorino, President and Managing Director of Disney Parks International. Through culture-defining storytelling, unforgettable experiences, and more, we are inviting everyone to experience firsthand the power of joy. And many ways, creativity, innovation, and contributions from Black culture are reflected across Disney. Or is Essence a a black thing. Anyway. Essence Fest Primetime will live stream on Hulu throughout the weekend, airing on the streaming service from 7 p.m. to midnight Central Time on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Get it on YouTube, man of bloody Hulu. Star Wars fans may be getting new Ahsoka footage this weekend, but the show itself is still almost 2 months away. Disney Plus and Lucasfilm recently used a teaser trailer to announce that Star Wars Ahsoka would be premiering on August 23rd. Blah, blah. We know all the rest. Yeah, we know all that. We know all that. It's just telling us all about it, but we know all about it because we've seen the trailers. But some footage will be coming at this Essence Festival. Fingers crossed. Because as we learned the other day, San Diego Comic-Con isn't boding well for that, is it? With this strike. And there's supposed to be, a decision in there about what the actors are going to do soon. But anyway, right. Sticking with Star Wars. A lot of Star Wars today. We're getting there. We're nearly done now. Princess Leia dress from original Star Wars could sell for $2 million at auction. Long believed to have been lost, the dress was discovered in a London attic. And there it is. The dress worn by Leia. There's Chewie, didn't get a medal until Rise of Palpatine. Somebody levitating R2, or are they on the step down? They might be on the step down. Anyway, the dress worn by Carrie Fisher in the final scene of the original Star Wars, which was long believed to have been destroyed, has been found and restored and is now up for auction. It could go for as much as $2 million. The dress worn during the scene where Princess Leia gives medals to Han and Luke, but for some reason not to Chewbacca. Yeah. Well, it says in the book, or in the comic, I'm sure it's the book, I can't remember, but it says somewhere, I read it somewhere, either in the comic or the book, that Chewbacca would get, it says along the lines of, Chewbacca will get his own medal, of course. Few space princesses are that tall. That's what it said. Anyway. Was found in an attic in London belonging to one of the film's original crew members. It was restored by hand, or restored, however you want to pronounce it, by hand over an 8-month period, according to Prop Store Auction, which is handling sale of the dress. According to the company, the dress is the only surviving costume worn by Carrie Fisher in Star Wars. Designed by Academy Award-winning costume designer John Mollo, the dress is made of cream, lightweight silk fabric and includes intricate draping. Prop Store Auction says Mollo won the Oscar for costume design for his work on Star Wars at the 1978 Oscars. According to the company, only one copy of this dress was ever made for the film. If you have several $100,000 burning a hole in your pocket, you could own a piece of Hollywood. And let's face it, American cultural history. Bidding started at $500,000. And as of this writing, there's only been one bid for $750,000. The dress is valued at between $1 million and $2 million. And have they got a link for it? Let's have a look. I'll open the link in another tab. Just bear with me. Let's go and investigate. What's going on here? Oh, there we go. Yes, lot. There we go. Lot 404. Let me pop it back up. This is on the website. Lot 404. Current absentee bid $750,000. That's the current bid. So there we go. That's what it looks like now. So that looks a little bit different, doesn't it, to what we saw, in the screenshot? Unless it was just the lighting. Bidding ends on today. It ends today. Just bidding. So there we go. Other lots in the auction. Oh, that's other things right here. So you've got to get your bidding quick. Oh, look, there's lots of different views of it. There you go. So if you want Princess Leia's dress and you've got more than $750,000, $750,001, bid for it. I haven't got that money. I haven't got even 1/75th of that amount, if that. But anyway, I hope it gets some money for the whoever Whoever kept it in their attic, give them some pennies. Right. Is this going to come on? Next, I think we start. Actually, no, it's a Star Trek / Star Wars one next. Thingamabob. Hang on. Full screen. Wingray says, buy this and Uhura's uniform from a few weeks ago. Yes, I could parade around in women's clothing pretending I'm a lumberjack. A geeky lumberjack. Hey, right. Quentin Tarantino preferred Star Trek over Star Wars because of one actor. You can guess who that is. Quentin Tarantino credited one actor for being responsible for pushing him away from Star Wars and closer to the Star Trek franchise. Quentin Tarantino has always considered himself a die-hard fan of the Star Trek franchise and probably a quiet place, as we mentioned Monday. In my Monday moan. But he admitted that this iconic actor was the reason for Tarantino's hardcore fandom in the first place. Tarantino might not have been as much of a Star Trek fan if it wasn't for William Shatner's performance. There we go. Knew it was going to be him. The late actor. What about the late actor? He's still not dead. Quick, check. Check on William Shatner. Somebody phone him. Send him a tweet. Played the iconic character from 1966 to 1969 in the Star Trek, the original series, for 3 seasons. His last appearance as the character was in the 1994 film Star Trek Generations. As a genuine fan of Shatner, Tarantino followed... But was it, though? I don't know. As a genuine fan of Shatner, Tarantino followed the actor's career and has even spoken to him personally. I was on a bit of a William Shatner kick where I was trying to watch the TV movies and the stuff he did after Star Trek, guesting on other shows. Everything before Star Trek the Motion Picture, Tarantino once told Deadline. Well, because Tarantino's obsessed with the 70s, isn't he? Yeah. What? No, it's fine. I'm sure William Shatner's fine. It's just, who is this anyway? The showbiz cheat sheet. Getting it wrong. Where were we? Shatner was also the sole reason why Tarantino preferred Star Trek over another mega sci-fi franchise. It's why I like Star Trek more than Star Wars, because William Shatner's not in Star Wars. I think it's one of the greatest performances in the history of episodic television, of a series lead, and rightly so. I need some burping, that brunch. Because very few series leads have ever gotten the opportunity to play all the different wild, crazy things, he said. Maybe Shatner, it's just not punctual. Well, maybe not. Tarantino openly spoke about his interest in making his own Star Trek movie. It'd have been terrible. It wouldn't have been Star Trek. He'd even gone as far as writing a script for the sci-fi feature with the Revenant screenwriter Mark L. Smith. At the time, Tarantino likened his would-be Star Trek project to one of his earlier works. It'll be Pulp Fiction in space. That Pulp Fiction-y aspect. When I read the script, I felt I have never read a science fiction movie that has this shit in it ever. There's no science fiction movie that has this in it. What? And they said, I know, that's why we want to make it. It's, at the very least, unique in that regard. I bet they encounter a race of aliens that are just feet. Just huge bare feet. That's all it is. Windgrace doesn't like his script idea. I don't know what it was. But I don't think it'd have been good, because I don't think it wouldn't have been Trek. It's not got. It might be a fan, but I don't think he'd be able to make a very good Trek film. But it could have surprised us. You never know. Anyway, we'll never know now. As a long-time fan of the sci-fi franchise, Tarantino took a liking to J.J. Abrams' reboot of Star Trek movies. Why? All right, we're set on that gangster planet. All right, what a piece of the action, that episode. No, that'd be rubbish, because that wasn't a particularly good episode either, in my opinion. But anyway, like 80% of the episodes of Star Trek the Original Series aren't very good, to be completely honest. No matter what bloody Robert Meyer Burnett says and his chuffing snobby ways, falling out with him. Anyway, the filmmaker especially praised Pine's portrayal of William Shatner's Captain Kirk in the film. He didn't go a serious actory way, he said. Well, no, I'm going to do my own thing. He's playing the William Shatner version of Kirk, and he's doing a fantastic job at it. I'm imperfect, frankly, he said. Hey, but he didn't talk to William Shatner, did he? He didn't phone him up and say, how should I play this part? He just did his own thing. And he was fine. The actors were fine in the J.J. Abrams films, just the films themselves were just not very good. Although I did quite like Beyond, but, it wasn't perfect by any means. According to Tarantino's writing partner Smith, their excitement for Pine as Kirk helped inform their development of the script. I wrote a Star Trek with Tarantino, a Star Trek. With Tarantino, and that was a sci-fi script on which I could have been fun and lean into some bigger, broader things, Smith said. Smith? Oh, that Mark L. Smith, yeah. Smith said in an interview with SFX magazine, Kirk is always just so fun. Tarantino and I had so much fun with him because Kirk is just William Shatner, It's like you're not sure who is who. So you can kind of lean into that. I don't know. I mean, they're just writing William Shatner then, basically. Because you watch Chris Pine and he's playing Kirk, but he's also playing William Shatner a touch. Tarantino seems to have taken focus away from his hypothetical Star Trek film for the sake of his other projects. In an interview with Consequence of Sound, the Oscar winner shared that it was pretty likely his involvement with Star Trek was finished. Quote, I think I'm steering away from Star Trek, but I haven't had an official conversation with those guys yet. In a strange way, it seems like this movie, Hollywood, would be my last. So I've kind of taken the pressure off myself to make that last big voila kind of statement, he said. Did he retire? I thought he was retiring, Quentin Tarantino. He said he was going to do so many films, didn't he? And then retire. Has he done all the films he was going to make? Obviously not. Or he's changed his mind. Anyway, in a 2020 interview with Deadline, Tarantino clarified that this didn't mean an R-rated Star Trek project was completely dead in the water. I think they might make that movie, but I just don't think I'm going to direct it. It's a good idea. They should definitely do it, and I'll be happy to come in and give them some notes on the first rough cut. 2 comments. Why does this article refer to William Shatner as the late actor? Yes, exactly. And William Shatner is not dead. I was wondering the same thing. I had to Google to see if I had missed something, like William Shatner's death. Nope. I guess it's too much to find out if somebody's living or dead before writing an article about them. Well said, Jeffrey Beauchamp and Brandon Hope. Shots fired. R&B going to be coming in here to debate soon. Is he? Doesn't even know I exist. I can say what I like, and he'll never know. But I think he does get carried away with how perfect the original series is. Does me head in. He goes on about that, about being a fan, but then he goes all, he clicks into Hollywood movie making mode about certain things, and it's all about, it's not about the fandom, it's about the money. I had my fingers burned once because I told him I sent an email or whatever, I text, I can't bloody remember, to his YouTube thing, and not his YouTube thing, his Facebook group, and that had written a spec script, not a spec script, a treatment, that's it, a fan treatment for a remake of, not a remake, a version of Graham Masterton's The Devils of D-Day, and it didn't mention it directly, but this very next show, he went on about how you shouldn't just write things and put it on the internet and for everybody to see, because that's not how you make money and all that. And I'm thinking, some people just write things for fun sometimes. But anyway, yeah, but right. Yeah, so there we go. Right, so what was it? Well, I forgot what the point of that article was. Oh, yes, because he's a fan of William Shatner. Imagine if William Shatner had run around barefoot. Crikey, it'd have exploded with rapture. Right, let's move on. We're nearly there. Oh, yes, we are. Last article. I've got no. Hang on, I haven't checked. Let me check. I haven't checked if there's any Big Cat UK news stories. Let's see if there's any new ones. Big Cat UK news. Tools sorted by date. Ooh, is that a new one? Ooh, we might have to go to that one. So we've another article. Are you serious? Well, I'll do it. I'll do it. But first, I've got to go full screen. Bloody hell! There we go. Right, Robert Englund's failed Apocalypse Now, or as I used to say when I were younger, Apocalypse. That's how I used to pronounce it. I think I was first saw it in 2000 AD magazine. I think there were the 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse. That's how I read it in my head when I was a kid. Robert Englund's failed Apocalypse Now audition gave us Star Wars. A young Robert Englund wanted nothing more than to be in Apocalypse Now, just to show that I can pronounce it, but was instead ushered into an audition for a space movie across the hall. Francis Ford Coppola across the hall, George and I forgot his bloody name now. And who did Carrie? And him that did Carrie in the old Martin. Oh, bloody hell, him in another room doing their auditions, crikey. Anyway, you could put your fan idea on YouTube and get no views like me. Well, actually, I have. I've done a reading of it. I've got a reading of it on my YouTube channel, my Devils of D-Day. Complete with images and stuff. But I'm not bothered. Sometimes it's just fun, isn't it? You don't need to be making money out of it. It's just fun. It's what fans do. Anyway, before they became can't remember. Before they became horror movie icon Freddy Krueger and sci-fi hero Luke Skywalker, Robert Englund and Mark Hamill shared an apartment in Hollywood. The two were both struggling actors at the time, auditioning for everything they could and hoping for their big break. Robert Englund recently explained to People how his failed audition for Francis Ford Coppola's, or was it Coppola, epic Vietnam War movie Apocalypse Now inadvertently led to Hamill landing his iconic role in a galaxy far, far away drinking game. By the way, on my website, mercuryrapids.co.uk, I think mercuryrapids.com works as well. I think whatever. I've got a section called, I think, the big screen. Hang on, let me check. There we go. Screenplays and script treatments. I've got a section called that, and I've got some screenplays I've written and some script treatments, including Santorini Street, an original screenplay. That's a UFO one, based loosely on a true story. Tell Me You're In There, an original screenplay, a horror one that actually got a contract to make a film for that, and then got stiffed. So never mind about that. Devils of D-Day script treatment, the Stainless Steel Rat. I did like a script based on that, loosely based on Harry Harrison's Slippery Jim Degrees. The Valley of Gwangi, a script treatment for a remake of that. A Doctor Who episode that I think what's his face Neil Gaiman ripped off, because I sent that off to the BBC, and they sent it back saying no, we're not accepting unsolicited scripts, even though they had an address to send scripts to, but they sent it back. And I think they kept a copy and Neil Gaiman saw it. And my personal favourite, I did a treatment for a reimagining of Quatermass and the Pit. There we go. And there's some short ones as well. Short screenplays, usually horror ones. I did like a zombie series of short screenplays, and there's a couple of other stuff as well. So that's on mercuryrapids.com or .co.uk. Oh, let's see if .com still works. I hope so, because I'm bloody paying for it. I think I am. .com. Yes, .com works, yes. It directs you to .co.uk. So there we go. So I just thought I'd share that with you. There we go. Which one? The Doctor's Wife? I can't remember. In me, hang on, get rid of that. Was that the one that had like a junkyard and the TARDIS became a person, in it? Was it that one? If it was, that's the Neil Gaiman one, isn't it? That's the one that my script kind of had parts of that. It wasn't exactly the same, obviously, but it had elements of that. I had the TARDIS as a person in it, and a junkyard did feature. I think they encountered a Cyberman in this junkyard, but actually everything happened inside the TARDIS, and it kept creating these areas inside the TARDIS. Did the TARDIS, because it was being pulled into a black hole in my my story, so it was going a bit doolally. But anyway, yes, that. Right, where were we? Robert Englund and Mark Hamill. Yes, his only script was the Cybermen on amusement park. All right, the only other script. Right. Anyway, he seems obsessed with doing stuff about gods and demons and stuff now, doesn't like American Gods and that other one with David Tennant and the other fella in. Anyway, I don't know. Right, so where were we? Robert Englund recently explained to People how his failed audition for Francis Ford Coppola's epic. I've done that one, Galaxy Far, Far Away. I had managed to read a bootleg script, and I was begging my agent and trying everything I could, pulling every string I could get in to audition for Apocalypse Now, Englund recalled. While discussing the new documentary about his life, Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares. Oh, excuse me. Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, the Robert Englund story. My son's a bit of a fan of Robert Englund. I think he likes the Nightmare on Elm Street films. I've been to a few conventions and he's wanting to get Robert Englund's autograph and meet him. Say, hello, Robert Englund, because I always called everybody by their entire name. Hello, Robert Englund, and pleased to meet and all that. Shake his hand and get his autograph. But every time we've never been able to get to the lines have always been too long. And him being autistic, he doesn't like waiting in line very long. A short line, fair enough, but it's a really long one. He doesn't like waiting. Even if you get the virtual tickets, they do a lot of virtual tickets where, in theory, you don't have to wait very long, but it doesn't often work out that way, does it? Anyway, whatever. I got in there and I was dressed in my thrift store military second-hand clothing, and I was all tan and long blonde hair. And they thought for a moment I might be right for the surfer role. This is Robert Englund we're talking about. He's always looked like a bit of a nerd, hasn't he? Anyway, the role went to Sam Bottoms, who was one of 4 acting brothers. So I can't see Robert Englund being, a tough guy in Apocalypse Now. He hasn't got that sort of face, has he? That's why we're Willie in V. That was his first big role, I think, wasn't it? Anyway, because he kind of looks meek, and I know it's surprising that he can be, Freddy Krueger, but he's under loads of makeup, isn't he? So anyway, a casting agent thought that Englund might be a good fit for the space movie they were casting across the hall. It was then that a name on the audition pages caught his eye: Luke Skywalker. So imagine Robert Englund as Luke Skywalker. Oh dear. Time to go to hyperspace, bitch. That's what he'd be saying, wouldn't he? What a name. I'd never heard the name before. I didn't know what it meant. Just the coolest name in the world and the galaxy. Luke Skywalker. And this was Englund's introduction to Star Wars. As far as the casting experience for the first Star Wars movie went, Englund said, all they did was take a Polaroid of me. I'm a character actor, so I never thought of it for me. He hasn't got right face, has he, for it? As I've said before. He's got a funny shaped nose. I'm sorry, So, you want the all-American boy, don't you? That's why they went with Mark Hamill. And I'm sorry, Robert, you're not that. love you to bits, but you're not Luke Skywalker. Anyway, I'm a character actor, so I never thought of it for me. But when I went back to my apartment, there was Mark with a Heineken and in his fist watching Bob Newhart. I told him about it, and he got on the phone and called his agent. Now, his agent, I believe she already had him up for the role, Englund recalls, and that may be true. I don't know. But I know that Mark hadn't heard about it yet, as I did tell him about it. And he got on the phone. That's the story. So we maybe have Freddy Krueger to thank for one of the best Star Wars characters. There we go. So if Freddy Krueger hadn't spoken to Luke Skywalker, we'd never have got a Luke Skywalker. Yeah, I've got to look up something. Sorry, it's getting on my nerves. Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm thinking of something totally different. Who's the other one? Hang on, let me look up somebody else. Just bear with me a minute. Just bear with me. Yeah, Martin. I'm thinking of Martin Scorsese. Sorry. I was saying George Lucas were with another director, wasn't it? The Carrie director. I'm thinking of Martin Scorsese, and it wasn't him, of course. It was Brian De Palma, wasn't it? That directed Carrie. He also directed Mission to Mars, a film which I really like and kind of gets a lot of stick, but I really like Mission to Mars. But anyway. Right, that's it for that one. Where were I? Oh, yes, Freddy Krueger gave us Luke Skywalker as we know him. So there you go. Right, one more, and then we're done. It's a big cat one, so this one's not in the. It's not in the description yet, because I've just found it, and it looks rubbish. It says here, big cat footage hailed as convincing as beast seen pouncing on animal. We will see, won't we? I've not read this. So there you go. Very convincing footage. Tail is very clear. I said that about this last one that we were on about a couple of weeks ago. It just looks like a Manx cat, doesn't it? To me. But anyway, I've got to cover big cats, haven't I? Because of that. Because of that, you see. Maybe it'll get some sales. Well, probably not. Right. Is that it there? What we're looking at there? I have no idea. Hopefully there's a video. People have described footage of a big cat seen in a link, in case you don't know what a big cat is, seen in a West Country field as convincing. In the 1 minute clip, which has been uploaded to TikTok, a feline with a long tail can be seen pouncing on an animal. Yeah, most felines have long tails. I've got a bloody garden full of them. It was taken by a deer stalker. What, Sherlock Holmes, was it? Elementary, my dear Watson. Who took a thermal camera to a Devon field to investigate reports of strange creatures in the area. After sharing his results with Big Cat Conservation, I think that's conservation, not conversation. Was it? I don't know. Might be conversation. Podcast. Viewers have declared the video as the most likely evidence that pumas and jaguars or jaguars are living among us. Or is it amongst us? God, I hate English. I want to learn another language. You can see eyes and eyes. You can see eyes and eyes in this frame quite clearly, the video says. I think we've seen this. We've slowed down the footage to show the back of the animal. I think I've seen this one before. I think we've done this one. Anyway, we're watching it now by the looks of it. It's playing. So let's have a look. Yeah, you can see that there. Yeah. It could be a possum or something. I know it's not, but I don't get many possums in the UK either, but it could be anything. So an Ewok, innit? That's what it is. There we go. That could just be a cat. Somebody's moggy. This is convincing, is it? Oh, there you go. It's jumping. Yeah. I'm not convinced. Could just be somebody's moggy, that, rather than, a puma or jaguar or leopard or, whatever. Is that it? There we go. You can see eyes and eyes in this frame quite clearly. The video says we've slowed down the footage to show the back of the animal. We've actually seen, I did it a few weeks ago, this one, I think. Under the post, dozens of people have replied, debating the images. One person said, please protect these animals at all costs. Another wrote, this is probably the only footage I've seen of a UK cat that is very convincing. Got a garden full of them. A third penned, very convincing footage, tail is very clear. Yeah, all cats have tails, unless they're a Manx cat. There have been scores of accounts of big cats being spotted in the West Country over the years, or links. Farmers, dog walkers, and train conductors have all retold their accounts. Some have seen the strange creature on more than one occasion. Others have described the blood-curdling moment they were stalked by what they believe was a panther. Recent DNA from a black hair sample snagged on a fence at a Gloucestershire farm was found to have a 99% chance it was a black leopard. During another recent case, a Gloucestershire man said he was 100% saw a big cat running through a field in the Forest of Dean. Jason Scriven, 30, was shocked upon seeing a huge black object. Oh, pardon me. Sprinting along hedgerows in the Forest of Dean on Thursday morning, June the 1st. Jason from Tetbury insisted it was a big cat he saw. While driving from Whitecroft towards Lydney at around 10:50 a.m. After pulling over to try and grab a photo, the 30-year-old said he called police to report the sighting, noting the shape had a very distinctive long tail. So there we go, that's it. I'll put the link for that in the description, but I'm not over impressed, to be honest. And Aiden's arrived. Oh, yes, anyway. Right, so that's it. Let's make myself big again. That's it. Another midweek session done. Thanks, Grace, for joining in, and MJ. And earlier on, we had the Viv Doors being, I don't know, but and Scottish Geek Guy said hello. Hello, Scottish Geek Guy. Go follow his YouTube channel. Go follow Grace's YouTube channel. It's excellent. And Scottish Geek Guys is as well. I don't know if MJ's got one. I don't know. Right. So we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching. Hang on, I'm getting myself ready. Hang on, there we go. So thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, I'll say that. I'm sure there was something I was going to say, but I can't remember what it was. Never mind. Right, I'm going now. See ya.